Hey, what's up guys? It's Hayden.
Hey, and I'm Emma. Welcome back to our channel. Look, we are, as usual, late to the party. We did not plan to have this video come out so late. We did want to do this much sooner, but unfortunately I have been really unwell with COVID, so did not want to be coughing through this entire video.
I love you, Pedro.
Don't, you'll get me going again. No, much better now. So, and look, this show we need to talk about. So, yes, we're late bringing this video out to you guys, but we're here now and we want to talk about this still. So, let's talk about The Last of Us. We did do, if you missed it, we did do a review of the very first episode, but we did say we would do a wrap up once the whole season was out. And the season is done and dusted now. My goodness, what a show.
Oh, it feels like an event show. Like it feels like a show that is up there with Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, just those big event shows you have to tune in every week. I thought this show was fantastic. There was a lot of talk beforehand as to whether this was going to break that curse of video game adaptions. Yeah. And I think now that we've got a season under our belts, I think it's safe to say it definitely broke the curse. Fantastic show, fantastic adaptation. And look, I think rather than doing a traditional review, because traditional reviews are quite boring, I think we need to just talk about what this show did right. What were the things that this show did right that made it a good adaptation, as well as just a good show in its own right? I think the first thing this show did right is the casting. I thought Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey were fantastic choices. A little bit different to their video game counterparts. But I thought they did an absolutely great job. We knew Pedro was going to kill it. Pedro's great.
Big fans.
But Bella Ramsey, in her first main role, I thought she was great, especially in those really emotional moments.
Yeah,
I thought
definitely.
She handled them so well, so maturely. I think she deserves like a Emmy nomination or something.
I think so. She impressed me so much. And look, at first I was like, yeah, she hasn't exactly got the look, but my God, if you've played the game, her voice, it sounds so much like the character in the game, and her mannerisms and how she delivers the lines, like the tone she uses in her voice. She sounds like Ellie in the game, and you know what? She sold the character for me. She doesn't look identical, but close enough, and I'm really invested in her as this character in the show now.
Already in one season, I'm invested in these characters. I care so much about these characters and what happens to them. Which is what you want in a show.
Yeah.
Like this, especially, when the stakes are so high. I felt like Walking Dead didn't quite, especially towards the end, didn't quite hit the nail on the head in that department. Right? Where they brought in all these secondary characters and tried to give them a backstory and make you care for them. And I just don't think they handled that as well as they could have. I didn't really care so much about the secondary characters. I was like, look, if Daryl dies, we're right. But outside of that, it's free game.
Yeah.
Whereas already in one season, I'm like, God damn it, if anything happens to these guys, I'm going to be a depressive mess for the next year. But even, not even the main characters, but even going to his main daughter in the first episode, I thought she did a great job and I was invested in her.
And we only saw her for half an episode, probably.
To do that in an episode is so hard to do.
And not only that, I feel like nearly every episode we had new characters that didn't necessarily stick around for the rest of the season, but in a few minutes you were caring about these other...
Yeah, what about episode 3?
With Bill?
Bill.
Oh my goodness.
A backstory about characters that we haven't even seen yet, And in one episode, they made us care so much about these characters. We were so invested in that story. To do that in an episode is almost impossible.
Yeah.
And they've done it. They did it with every single character that they brought in, and obviously, especially with the main characters. I thought their casting was great. Their character development was great. How these characters were written. Their dynamics. I love the dynamic between Pedro and Bella Ramsey.
Yep.
You can see it in the behind the scenes. Yeah. They're just so playful and they've got a very good relationship. And that obviously is important for on screen, bringing that connection on screen.
To sell those.
Yeah, I think that's why when they finally when that bond finally solidified in the show, that moment hit so hard.
Yeah.
I thought that was played out really well, and you could just feel that connection through the screen. And it's because in real life they're quite close.
Yeah. So, and again, another thing that the show got right, we got the casting, but they also made you care not only for the main characters, but
secondary characters.
The supporting cast, like, just so well written and carefully planned out. Brilliantly written.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that they did really well with this show, and it's pretty well documented now, is they stayed pretty true to the source material. My God, if you did watch our first review of the first episode of The Last of Us, at that point in time, I had played a little bit of the game, but I hadn't played too much of it. And since we've wrapped up the show, I have gone back and started playing the game again. It did make me want to go back, even though I kind of know what's going to happen now. It's still kind of cool knowing...
It's kind of seeing the game version of what happened on screen almost.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's flipped for me.
Because I'm watching you play through and I'm like, hey, I remember that from the show. I remember that set piece. I remember this scene.
Yeah, and so it was crazy. It's kind of like we've had an insight to the show, and now we've had an insight into the game, and it's kind of been cool to see both played out,
Very
knowing
faithful.
and not knowing. So that was a bit of a ramble, but I hope that made sense.
But I think that's important for a game with such a following.
Yeah.
It's so beloved. They couldn't change much.
Yeah.
You had to stay faithful to it. I think what the show did well was they fleshed out some of those secondary characters, like Bill, that probably didn't get as much time in the game. And I think that's how they differentiated themselves and added something new. So it's something fresh for people that had played the game. So it's not just like a play-by-play. There's something more to get invested in. You're going deeper into these characters' backstories and some side characters' backstories.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, yes, the show took some liberties in changing up the story for, the purposes of TV entertainment. Yeah. I mean, and I think it's probably good to change something slightly, because then it also keeps people who had played the game all the way through. It kind of gave them some surprises so that they didn't have, I guess, the whole show spoiled for them. It kind of... You know what I mean? Like, it kind of kept them intrigued enough that, oh, yes, it looks like they're following the storyline, but there's some slight changes, so let's see where this goes. But I still think it was really faithful. I'm about 80% of the way through the game now, and it's like minor changes. Like, it's so good. And even down to, like, some of the lines. Like, they've kept some of the lines in...
Yeah.
From the game, and some of the dialogue that they exchange, it's like they literally said that in the game, but it's so cool. I mean, why would you, if you've already kind of got the script written there, like, why would you change it up? Like, half the work's done for you.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, they that was another thing they did. I mean, you've got this amazing game that is so popular. Like, you've got such perfect source material there already. Like, you don't need to change too much. And I think that's another reason why this show has done so well, is because it's just basically brought this game to life.
Yeah. They even got characters from the game, or actors that voiced the characters in the game, into the live action show, which I thought was a nice little touch too. Nice little Easter eggs for the fans.
Yeah.
Just little things like that they did really well. Now I think the last thing, at least for me, that I think made this show, and I am kind of putting a massive umbrella over this particular topic, but just the filmmaking. Just the quality of filmmaking on display was unreal. Well shot. The set pieces, the locations, everything. The writing, we already talked about the writing, but the writing was top notch. I just cannot fault this from a filmmaking perspective.
It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And the effects, oh my God, the clickers, terrifying. The prosthetics looked so good.
Special makeup effects, oh my God. Like, how much did they cost for each kind of prosthetic suit?
It'd be thousands.
Yeah, I think, didn't you look it up, like the actual price?
I can't remember, but it was
a lot.
A lot of money.
Just the care that they put into this, it shows. They're definitely fans of the game. They definitely knew what they were doing with the source material, and it just shows.
I also want to mention that the fact that they had the creators of the game
Also
on board.
helps. Yeah.
Also helps.
Also helps.
Another thing they got right, I think if you're going to do any kind of adaptation of like a game or whatever,
Get the original.
get the
creator.
original.
For the love of God.
It just goes to show what it can do. And then you have the likes of Craig Mazin. Mazin?
Yeah,
I think it's Craig Mazin.
great direction.
To have him and
had to be helmed by a good director.
Yes.
Yeah.
To have him and the creators of Chernobyl on board, you could definitely see. I don't know. It had some kind of.
It was Chernobyl-esque in moments.
Yeah, like it had the kind of aesthetic or atmosphere. There was something Chernobyl-like that I did notice in The Last of Us, but it worked. And if you haven't seen Chernobyl yet, check it out.
Yeah, if you enjoyed this, you enjoy Craig Mazin's work from this, then definitely check that out. If you haven't,
so good. Obviously,
yeah,
very sad.
Very good TV director. He's definitely proving himself as a TV director. And I know Pedro and Bella Ramsey, they obviously were doing their job, but the director has a lot of input into the actors as well. As you would know, you've done a bit of acting, I've done a bit of directing. So we understand like that dynamic, and it is, the actors obviously bring their thoughts onto the table. But they workshop that with the director. The director has a very big say in kind of, how actors deliver lines, getting them into that mindset that they need to get into. And so as much as you praise Pedro and Bella Ramsey, you have to praise Craig Mazin as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a great relationship with all the cast and all the crew. I think they've put a lot of love and care into this show, and it has paid off. I cannot wait for the next season. I'm definitely going to be finishing this game now. I don't even care that I kind of know what happens in the end, but I still need to play the next game. I haven't played that one yet, so...
Which I've heard is very controversial. I heard the second one's very controversial.
Oh, really?
Yes. And a lot of people are wondering, are they going to follow that story to a T in season 2?
Okay.
Because, apparently there's some crazy shit that happens and it's very divisive. So...
No spoilers, please.
Yeah.
I'm going to play
No spoilers, please. But it'll be interesting to see, because I think there is a bit of a time jump and an age jump with the characters. So it'll be interesting to see. I've heard they're not recasting.
Thank God.
So do they age her up with makeup? Do they tell a little bit of a story between the events of the first game and the second game? I wouldn't mind that. Because there's only 2 games, right? And you obviously want to stretch the show out as much as possible. You don't want to just make it like a 2-season thing and then you're done.
Well, that's what I've been thinking, like...
And you've got the creator on board, so anything that he kind of says is going to happen in between those 2 games, it's technically canon. Technically happens. It's come from the creator. So it'd be very interesting to see what they do there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I heard Ellie... So she's 14 in this game show.
This game show?
This game show? In this show.
They're playing
and
Wheel of Fortune in the apocalypse?
No. And then I think she might be 19.
I'll take a C for clicker. Thanks.
So she's 14 in this season. I think I heard she might be 19 in the next game.
Right, so there's a bit of an age gap, yeah.
But the actress, Bella Ramsey, I think she's like 21 or 22. So she should be able to play that age range fine. Yeah. I don't think there's too many
obviously
issues.
dress her a different way. Maybe age her up a touch with makeup if you need to. Maybe change their hairstyle a little bit, make it a bit more mature. There's things you can do.
Yeah. But also, by the time they probably get around to filming this next season, she's already naturally aging.
It's like you look at, you watch Stranger Things, like those kids grow up before your eyes.
Yeah.
So it would be the same thing with this, I guess.
They grow up and age with the show. So I think they've casted well in that sense too, that I think her natural age...
And maybe that was something that they thought of before casting. It's like, okay, we need someone that can play 14 and that can play 19 and
20s.
Yeah.
However far they
age
go.
with the show. So, yeah.
So, okay, anyway. We shall soon find out. I'm very excited. I adored this show. I'm so happy with what they've done. Every episode was fantastic. Every episode was thrilling. And really excited for the next season.
Absolutely. But as always, guys, make sure you let us know what you thought of The Last of Us in the comments below. And do all the YouTube stuff as well. Slam that like button if you like what we do. Hit the bell for the notifications to be notified of what we've got coming up next. Subscribe to our channel to become part of the Headspace Films community. Most importantly of all, thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
See you later.